So that was my parents' first response to me. And after that, um, I felt really, really, you think like a weight was lifted, but in place of that weight that was lifted, I kind of had this heartache, and I felt really alone, and it was really, really hard for me, just because it was like two giant life-changing events. Um, One day, there was the breakup, and then the questioning of where am I going to live and what am I going to do, and it's like crazy thing. And then the very next day was the coming out, and then the day after that it was like the response, and then it was just like um, the next couple of weeks of just really, really just some painful stuff, like feeling alone and things like that. So coming out is hard, but it does get better. I've seen my dad several times now. So I came out, he wrote me, and then like literally like a month later he texted me and he said, are you still going through with it? And I said, oh, and then he said, since I haven't heard from you, are you hiding out or something? And I said, I'm writing you another email. And then I told him, oh, and then he asked me, are you still living in Mission Viejo or did you move? And I said, I'm still here. I'm probably going to be moving next month, though. And he said, are you going to ever see us again? When he asked me that, my heart broke. Like, that was really, really hard to hear, because I didn't realize, like, my perspective was that they were really upset and mad, or maybe sad or whatever, but, angry. And I had no idea that they were feeling like, are you ever going to see us again? Like I was punishing them or something, and that's why I was staying away, when really I was staying away because I had no idea, where they stood or how they felt, and, everything was still raw and new, and I was still very uncomfortable and not quite comfortable in my body and not quite passing. Like, there's just a lot of variables there, and so when he said, are you ever going to see us again, I was really shocked. So a lot of times, like, you just never know. You never really know unless you communicate with your family as to how they're feeling. But it's hard. It's really hard to be brave and be like, so, And then I wrote him back. I said, and this is a text message, I said, of course, you're my family. I love you. But we're not on the same page, and it's going to take time, and judging by your emails, I feel that I need to better explain myself. I'm afraid it'll be too difficult for you to see me as I am now, and that conflict will erupt in our context of the Bible. That's why I'm going to write. And he wrote, I'm not trying to be funny or anything. I love you. And I said, no, I don't have a beard. I do have short hair and a deep voice. And he said, so you still say this is God's plan? ? If so, is your plan to preach the gospel to souls that are classified as transgendered? And I said, I don't think it's a mistake that I was born female. God makes no mistakes. But I do believe we all have lessons to learn, destinies to fill, and fates to meet. God knows my heart. He doesn't see gender like we see it. He knows where I would go. He knows and who I was going to be. I do believe there's a certain responsibility to reach out to those who are lost and feel turned away. We all have that duty to fill, and depending on our skills and spiritual gifts and life experiences will dictate who we impact. And yes, I do believe I owe it to my peers in the LGBT community to know that they are loved. I'll let God make use of me as he sees fit. He replied, that sounds good and sweet, but do you have to go to the extremes to fit in? And I replied, I'm not doing this to fit in. In fact, I did everything I possibly could not to go this route. I didn't want to be the taboo, or experience hate or discrimination. I would have much rather just been normal, or rather ordinary. I'm doing this because I have body dysphoria. I've always had it. I've just always tried to ignore it. And it just got to a point where I couldn't ignore it anymore. And mental and social dysphoria, I have never seen myself as a woman, physically or mentally. My dad wrote, I'm speechless. When you told me 6 years ago, and he's talking about me coming out as being gay, my heart was broken, and I cried a lot. And he did cry a lot. I remember coming home after school, and the door would open, and there would be tears in his eyes, and they would be red. He says, I don't cry anymore. He says, I ask God for knowledge and understanding. When he said that, I just felt like, wow. Like that's amazing. Because instead of using his own tools, he's letting God take control and help him figure out like what needs to change, whether it be changing him or changing the situation. It was really heavy, and it was such a huge sign of spiritual maturity. And I said, it is in our brokenness we reach out to him. I'm thankful that you're asking for understanding. I do not yet know the master's plan, but I'm confident, and I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'm confident that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I love you very much. And he wrote, I love you too. And that was crazy. My mom still hasn't come around. May, June, July, August, September, October. It's been 6 months, and I haven't seen her. Actually, it's been longer than 6 months since I've seen her. But since I've come out, I've seen my dad for haircuts. I see him like once a month now, or once every other month actually, which is really good. And he's so much better. Like, he doesn't seem very awkward. Although he tells me, hey, I'm a little uncomfortable, but he's great about it. And it takes time, and you can't do it by yourself. So, good luck to all of my brothers out there and all of my sisters out there. I highly recommend that you just pray, and even if we don't have the same beliefs, pray. Whether it's changing your heart or changing your situation. All right, guys. See ya.